There's a lot of John Crichton which is very similar to me. I grew up watching Star Trek. I grew up watching Lost in Space. The first film that I remember seeing is 2001: A Space Odyssey. I was taken as a very small child. I remember my little brother falling asleep, my baby brother at the time, and being mesmerized by that film. That I read science fiction and fantasy, and it's a genre which I've always followed. So that's a natural extension of me that I am in a science fiction genre, and that helps for John, because then I have the references that I can draw upon to flesh John out. And I did. I wanted to be an astronaut. And I grew up writing off to NASA. And in those days, you would write to NASA, and NASA would send you a packet of information. Because there wasn't the internet, so you would write to JPL, and JPL would send you information about the projects they had going. So you get these great pictures of probes and space capsules and whatever, and engines and what they had going on. So I, as a child, wanted to be an astronaut. And later, when I got distracted by girls and other things, ended up turning to acting. And it's a nice fortuitous circumstance to me that I end up being an astronaut again.
David Kemper, who is our insane genius, who's been down on the floor running the show for the last 2 years, made a big mistake, and he said, Ben, you know, if it feels like you want to do so, go ahead and, you know, throw something out. And I get a little carried away, and, okay. Freeze or the white boy gets it! Yeah, that would be me.
Well, now that the truth is out about the fact that I ad-lib a bit, there are some that I'm proud of, and they're not always funny. Danger Will Robinson, Beware the Chair, is one of my favorites because it's an act break, and it does a pop culture reference at the same time being very serious, and then there's the funny element where the audience recognizes it. I like almost any reference that I bring in that contains Mel Brooks, The Three Stooges, or Abbott and Costello. I like the classic references that I managed to find. And the writers also have theirs as well with the pop culture references. It's not solely in my court. There's a lot of them that come from the writers.
How does it feel to be John Crichton? Well, you know, I actually think that that's actually the best hook about John. I think most of us can imagine ourselves as John, and that's, you know, you could probably imagine yourself as John. What do you do if you're stuck at the other end of the universe and you have no clue what's going on? There's aliens, man, you know.
You know, my jokes kind of go, you know, Claudia Black, man. You know, like the sexual element of Farscape is very real. That, you know, I sort of think you could throw Claudia Black in a room with any guy and you're going to have sexual tension. She's just got that thing about her.
I was already onto something after Explorer. What would you like to explore on Farscape? And I'm going, that whole Crichton thing, I think it's really interesting. I'm thinking we could do like a whole season locked in a cabin somewhere.
It's a very real kind of dynamic that the show has sex in it, but it's not about sex. And I think that's really cool.
Our opinions, even about science and fact, are formed by what we watch on TV. The fact is that Spacewalk, whereas it did push the envelope, it's not pushing the envelope as much as most science fiction pushes it. I mean, you know, let's go down to Delvian mysticism and ask whether, you know, that's real. Hey, man, it's like Disneyland on acid, man, you know? Okay, got it. But Farscape has a signature, which is taking the conventions of science fiction and pushing them. We did it in 2001. It's a great sequence. And when we did it, it pays off. Now, whether the audience drops out, in or out occasionally, the next time I go into space, they'll go, yeah! So
the puppets are a very good way to introduce aliens, alien sizes and shapes. They're still performed by people, and they're still performed by ostensibly actors. And so you still have the live interaction. And you know, I've said it before and I'll say it again, they're remarkable performers. And it's a privilege to be surrounded and to work with them. And to work with someone that's, you know, is worth $1 million like Rigel is. He's $1 million actor, man. He is. The sucker costs way more than I do. And I know it as well. Don't hurt the puppet. You know, I'll throw my body across the floor, and they bring in like the stunt puppet. Well, where's my stunt man? They got rid of my stunt man. They just throw the actor across the floor. But Rigel in all his incarnations, they take good care of him. He's got a crew of like 7, 8 people. Team Rigel comes in and there's like 7 or 8 people. I share a makeup person with like a guestie.
And we were playing a motif where we would physicalize every transfer in and out of the past was also matching physically what I was doing in the present. And so, I got knee in the balls, and boom, I come forward, and we had Sparky there. I love those names. We had Sparky there, and he's right there, and I go, Johnny Eccleston, who's project, is it all right if I hit the puppet? Is that cool? He's worth more than me. If I hurt the puppet, I'm gone, right? And he goes, yeah, we can do that, and all the other puppeteers like, oh, and luckily Brian wasn't around, so it was safe, Brian. But you have an element of play that you don't get with CGI. And I don't know why people don't bag on Yoda and stuff instead of bagging on our puppets. Our puppeteers are some of the best in the world, and I think that... You guys rock, man! Humans are superior!
From season to season, it's important for the character to move and change. And I try to influence the changes and the shifts in Erin's, in her character as much as possible because I need to be interested in the work I'm doing. The audience needs to be connected to someone as if they were a human being, and you want to be able to see people going through experiences and how they respond to their environment as the environment changes. Having said that, as much as I welcome change in a character, it's always difficult for the actor when they open a script and are shocked by what they read. If there's something truly dark about the character that's expressed in that script, the nerves start to rise slightly because you wonder how when you see how popular your characters become, there's always that slight reticence. But then I just, everything I'm afraid of, I just try and grab with 2 hands confidently and give it all I've got. And that's what I did with The Way We Weren't. It was exhausting, but it was a very important episode for me. So I think everyone's just really proud. I think it's that sense of pride that keeps us going and gets us up in the morning. And people like Anthony on set who are hysterical. You heard the beep, 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 and the joke reel, I'm sure. I mean, he's hilarious. And Ben, it's a great chemistry between everyone on set, and that's enormously important as well. There's also a big difference, I think, from what I hear between Australian and American crews, and also Australia and New Zealand are quite similar. There's no real demarcation between the cast and the crew. All the heads of department on the crew can communicate with you directly, ask you to do certain things for them. They have been my learning ground, really. I've learned so much from the directors of photography, from the camera operators, from the sound department. I mean, if an actor's... There we go. So it comes from them. A lot of the time, the crew tell you how to be a better actor, and we're working with such professionals that we're getting better and better, and that's also part of the success of the show. The humour on set is a vital part of our process. We have a lot of people on this show who are in great physical discomfort. Anthony Simcoe, Virginia Hay, Gigi Edgley, and whichever guest cast members we have on who are wearing extraordinarily hot costumes and prosthetic makeup. They're also wearing contact lenses, which are difficult if you've not experienced them before. And the humour, Anthony Simcoe is enormously responsible for providing the humour on set, and we all fall in and appreciate it.